side of the argument when it came to crime and punishment. I know he's a big fan of poetry. I'm sure he'd recognise a little bit of poetry if I quoted it at him. I never saw a man who looked with such a wistful eye upon that little tent of blue, which prisoners call the sky. Prisoners go to prison as punishment, in our view, not for punishment. And so we might not see eye to eye necessarily on what he said. But as ever, it was an interesting and very thoughtful contribution. Then we had a contribution from the Right Honourable Member, I believe so, isn't it, for Northampton North, who quoted Churchill extensively in his remarks. And he said that the language he was using, he said, which I realised, he said, which was a bit Edwardian. And I wasn't quite sure whether that was a bit too modern for the Right Honourable gentleman, and that's why he pointed out that it was Edwardian. But he did go on to point out that, to say that 20,000 prison places have been created. Well, I think we challenge that. I won't go into it in great depth. In our view is that in net terms it'll only be 8,000 by 2025, which is 60% short of the government's own plans. Then we had a contribution from the Honourable Member for Harborough, who was very critical of the methodology that the government has used to justify the presumption of suspended sentences for under 12 months. And he admitted that people were spending too long on remand in prison, which was a source of a lot of the problems in the prison estate. And many of them, of course, will turn out to be not guilty at the end of that process.